Hello, everybody. Welcome to Boss Rush Games Podcast or Boss Rush Podcast. I'm your host, Eddie V, looking dapper. Yes, it is great to be back. We have been off for 2 weeks, but I'm so excited to be back. Hopefully, everybody had a great Christmas, had a great New Year's, birthday, whatever you celebrated before this lovely podcast has came back to give you guys great enjoyment. But joining me is Bossman himself, Mr. Corey Derrick.
I'm here. It is the new year, the first show. I'm excited. I got my fancy hoodie on that I've been wearing since Christmas. So
it looks comfy.
Oh my gosh, dude, it's the most comfortable thing I've ever worn in my life. I think I've literally worn it every day except for like 2 days since I got it. I've literally washed it like twice a week.
Oh wow.
It's just so comfortable, man. Oh.
Yes. And our special guest, he's the caster of Hype. Caster of Hype, in case of you guys didn't catch that. The Hypecast himself, Mr. Antonio Good.
What up, Ed? What's up, Corey? Thank you very much for having me on. I am super pumped. It's Antonio here, aka Hypecaster. I'm ready to get naked, guys. I'm ready to pop it off. I want to apologize right now for my behavior, okay? Because you caught me on a day where I'm bouncing off the walls here, okay? I'm ready to go. I'm gonna throw a stick of dynamite into this podcast. We're gonna blow it up. All right. I hope that's okay.
No, it's good. First show of the year, we're gonna blow it up.
All right, cool. Thank you for having me on for real.
If it excites you, Antonio, I'm not wearing pants. So.
Oh, no pants. I love it.
Yes, everybody. Our vice Wisconsin tonight, Jesse Douglas, couldn't make it. He is resting, relaxing, and our streaming champion, as always, Mr. Ray Apollo, couldn't make it either. He is out of town, enjoying it. Both of them are getting rest and relaxing. So hopefully we will have them next episode, the 4 crewmen being back to discuss some games. But we're gonna jump into Antonio because a lot of you guys don't know who he is and what he does. So Antonio,
and can
you give us some gaming history and what you actually do?
Long story short, I was raised by wolves, adopted into their pack. They taught me everything I know, how to fend for myself. I love games. My history with games goes way back, just escaping into them. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't like grade school. I didn't like high school. Give me a good RPG. You know what I'm talking about? So I discovered podcasts in about 10 years ago or so. And, IGN, everything Greg Miller was doing with Beyond. And it kind of grew from there. Met Corey, met a bunch of other people who were, up-and-comers doing podcasts, creating content. This whole idea was still a little bit fresh. So I started it off. I've done different podcasts and getting together with like amazing friends, like making lots of connections with people. I did the Platinum Achievement podcast, a podcast called Switch Talk, and more recently been contributing, writing game reviews at the Nintendo Village. Check it out, Nintendo Village.
Yes.
Google it. Lots of reviews and opinion pieces there that I've been writing. And then just most recently joined the Mega Dads. So if you look on Twitter for Mega Dads Live, podcast about parenting and gaming, I am helping with their opinion pieces and game reviews. So I have bowed out recently from making a lot of content this last 2 years because my family had a lot of tragedy. I've shared it online and on Twitter about my own struggles with mental illness and some things that had been going on that's been sidetracking me. But this year seems to be focused on having fun, playing games. I'm going to try to do your backlog challenge, guys, because I need that push. But I love games. I love writing about them. I love talking about them. So, what you guys do, I'm so glad it's just us three, honestly, for this show. Because, Ed, can I just say something? They don't let you talk, man. I was listening back to these episodes, and Ed's talking, and everybody's like, yeah, but, and he's like, yeah, but, and then 20 minutes later, Ed's like, but that's what I'm saying. Like, that's all I heard over the last couple episodes. And I'm like, let the man speak.
But the thing about it is when I do speak, I give a lot of information and a lot of opinions, and Corey probably gets a lot of emails and text messages be like, Eddie is just, wait, what? Like, But thank you, Antonio.
I just had to say it. I had to say it. I'm sorry to blow things up. I'm gonna blow things up. But thank you for having me on. That's like my little history, a little spiel. We have a baby coming, first kid in 6 weeks, so that's obviously gonna detract my get back at it plans. But we'll see. Like doing my best over here, guys.
To be fair, those first 6 months when that kid is either sleeping a lot or you just watching it lay there because, well, let's be honest, they don't move much. The first few weeks, if you're not busy holding it and being in awe that you have a child, Switch is a great system.
Oh yeah, Switch is gonna be key. Absolutely.
Nintendo Switch has been a blessing to the gaming community and to the industry in whole.
No doubt, man.
Like. And we're going to get into the show stuff and housekeeping, but I remember when so many people were making fun of the system, saying they won't have no games or anything. And just look at the indie sales, the physical sales, the system itself selling, how Nintendo Lite has been doing. I mean, the Switch Lite, not Nintendo Lite. The Switch Lite has been doing. It's like really been filling a lot of people void who miss gaming and stuff, or who can't game as much. Carrying a big game like The Witcher 3 on the go, or Monster Hunter Generations and stuff like that. Even Bethesda games. So many people have dived back into gaming because of the Switch, and it continues to go.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in making sure that the barrier to entry of games is super low, and we could talk about it more later, but I just got access today to Project xCloud, and the Switch is going to continue to be obviously like key to me fitting in games when I can. I think with the maturing, gamer fan base as we grow up, have kids, have lives, get into debt, have them mortgages, you're going to need to game when you can. And you're right, Switch is going to be key to that for me. And I think Nintendo Lite is a good name. Good branding right there, Ed. Seriously, because it's light. It's light on features, so it's Nintendo Lite. Drop the Switch, it doesn't switch no more. You did it. You did it.
I do want to make a good point about this Switch though, like in terms of adding like a lot of third-party stuff, even though it's not the optimal way to play games like Doom or Wolfenstein or The Witcher or Overwatch, right? Like those experiences are there, and in terms of Wolfenstein and Doom specifically, I played those games after my daughter was born on the Switch. And, those, don't get me wrong, Xbox One X version of Doom looks 1,000 times better. But playing that on Switch was, like, really something I never thought that we would be able to do, And, like, The Witcher is on sale right now, and I'm, like, going on vacation soon. Like, it's on sale. I want to get back into The Witcher because I've been watching the Netflix show, just like 90% of the world.
I haven't watched it yet,
but I know it's on Game Pass and I already own it. But like the Switch,
man, The Witcher's calling to me as well. I'm in that same boat as you. I have a list of like things to purchase, things to play, and Witcher Switch is on there. And I would have done it, I think, if Project xCloud didn't hit, because now I could obviously, stream and play Witcher, in my house.
But you know what? It's like, even with that's still good, because a lot of people will still support CD Projekt Red and the company who ported by getting The Witcher 3 for a Switch. People laughed at it, but then the day that it came out, you seen 15,000 posts on social media that everybody was playing it, or people were playing it and having a ball with it. So,
let me ask you a quick question. I don't want to. Again, I keep blowing up the show. I'm sorry, but like, I would spend about $500-600 right now for a handheld that played these AAA games at 1080p. I want to say 60 frames, but I'll take 1080p, 30 frames per second, like quality, Witcher, Doom, all these things. To me, I will pay hundreds of dollars more. I'll buy the Switch Pro, or even if somebody else does it, and what Microsoft is doing, Project xCloud, is a good kind of bridge there. It's another solution of getting that. But I crave something better. Like Greg Miller was just talking about playing Witcher on Switch and just saying like his eyes started to hurt. So he was like, you know what? Okay, I'm getting back into it, but I'm going to go play it on the console. He had that option. But man, I really crave that day, and it has to be coming. But I can't look at the 480p screen for some of these games. I want to love it, but it's just not enough.
Yeah.
Well, I think when you look at it in that light, it's just like this is supposed to be played while you're on the go, while you have
You're
time
right.
to play and not to do it.
But even when you're when, to Antonio's point, like even when I was playing, because I would play Doom and Wolfenstein sometimes in docked mode, just because I was already making progress and I had the TV, at some point. But like when you're used to looking at some textures that are like 1080p or 1440p or even 4K, if you're lucky enough to have a 4K TV right now, like you go back to that 720 resolution with some muddy textures, and your eyes do kind of have a hard time adjusting to that.
You gotta squint. You gotta
yeah.
squint. You gotta hold that screen like a foot away from your face.
And
more than
we're
you
only
normally
talking
would.
and
Yeah,
we're
things
talking
look
about
great.
playing
Things
it
look great.
handheld.
Yeah.
We're not talking about
No,
playing
I
it
know,
on the TV.
I know.
This is more handheld.
Yeah.
Just in case of people were wondering.
Most people,
So-
most people play handheld. Just had to say it. That's all. I want the Pro, Switch Pro, or
Yeah.
anything. Sony, I'll buy your Vita
That's why
Plus or whatever the hell. Give me
that's why I
something.
skipped. That's why I skipped upgrading my Switch. When the extra battery life version came out, right? Because I'm like, there's got to be a Switch Pro coming at some point. I'm gonna wait for that. And
Let's hope and pray. Let's hope and pray, everybody.
Please, and can it please just don't get me wrong, Joy-Cons are fine, but can we get a form factor option that looks like the Switch Lite? That like the controllers are attached, the D-pad's nice, but it just docks and it's nice and it's just a nice machine.
Preach.
No, I don't want that. I'm sorry. I can't have that.
He's
Just
like, down res it. Ed's like, down res it some more.
Ed's like, give it a 4.3 aspect ratio.
I want mono audio. I only want to hear out of my left
all
ear.
I need is to have Bluetooth functionality. If they offer where you can't take the Joy-Cons off, at least offer a bundle where a Pro controller comes with it.
Welcome to Nintendo Power Blocks, episode 178.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
Look,
I blew
what-
it
what
up. I'm
80?
sorry, guys. I started. I knew it. I said I apologize in the beginning.
No, it's.
That's okay.
I mean, that's what this show is. It's just funny.
Pretty much, yes. So, well, let's get into some housekeeping real quick. This is the Boss Rush Podcast, Boss Rush Games flagship podcast, where each week we talk about games and what we love about them. You can find the show on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, and anywhere else you consume products. Tuesday mornings. Follow us on Twitter at boss_rush_games and on Facebook and Instagram at Boss Rush Games. Join our Discord, Xbox console community, and our Destiny clan. Also, live shows have returned. Just like this one, everybody. Join us live on Mixer and Twitch at Boss Rush Games Live, all one word, to chat with us live on air. You can also find all of our content on bossrushgames.com and on Boss Rush Games at our YouTube channel. So we're going to
Ed,
jump.
Ed, before we get into this, before we get into what we've been playing, just one quick announcement. So last night when we were recording the Retro Game Show, we came to the conclusion that the Boss Rush podcast is going to hit episode 50 the same week that Nintendo Power Block hits episode 200.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to do, to celebrate our 5-year anniversary of doing content together, Ed, our 50th episode of Boss Rush Podcast and our 200th episode of Nintendo Power Block. We're going to do 5 weeks of giveaways leading up to episode 50 and episode 200.
Yes!
So
He's very excited.
yes. So next week we'll have more announcements on that, like how you enter and everything, but it's coming.
Everybody has a chance to win something.
Yeah.
What you will get,
Yeah.
we can't tell you, but who knows?
Yeah,
We shall.
It's going to be exciting.
Yes.
Oh, it's going to be so awesome.
So, yes. So let's get into our gaming get down. I'm actually going to start with you, Antonio. What games have you been getting down to?
So I have a list here. I was trying to pull it up so I don't forget anything. What's going on with me getting ready for my first child coming is I'm doing a lot of painting, a lot of house repair. So I don't have a lot of time. So when I do have a few minutes, I'm making this list, editing this list of what I'd like to play, things that are on my backlog. And I have been playing a few things. So the first thing that I booted up when I got access to Project xCloud was Wreckfest. It's been on my radar for quite a bit. And the feeling of Destruction Derby way back on the OG PlayStation and that I got was just nostalgia just hitting me. Very well made game. And I knew it was going to be coming to Game Pass, eventually probably, but
it's on my list to buy.
Yeah, it's through the Project X Cloud. Here are free games to try, once you subscribe to the service. So it's been really good. I mean, even running on the, in streaming, I got disconnected for like a split second, like twice, and I was like moving from room to room. So it's running really well. I want to play more of it, and it's just fun. It's great to have these games that come along that, with racing in particular, like I'm a big fan of like Midnight Club, like some of the more arcadey racers. Need for Speed Underground 2 is my jam. Things like
Mario Kart Double Dash.
Double Dash. All right, there we go. So that's something that I've played. I started Jedi. I think it's amazing. I wish that I had more time to get into that. Age of Empires Definitive Edition, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I previewed on Google Stadia way back before we knew what it was gonna be. They gave you a free copy for being part of the trial, and that's another game that I've been dipping back into now. Excellent, because I know Corey's been late to the game, but also feeling like it's amazing. So Assassin's Creed Odyssey is great. Divinity. Who was talking about Divinity the other day on one of these episodes? So Divinity is amazing. Like I'm this close to getting it on Switch. I have it on PC.
If you listen, I pre-ordered the physical copy from Limited Run.
There we go. Yeah, Divinity 2 is amazing. If you're a fan of RPGs, definitely try it. It's just doing things on another level, just like world building wise, very deep, challenging combat. And then the last stuff was I tried GTA Online, just coming back to it since GTA hit Game Pass, and it's kind of rough, just like how I remember it. Haven't finished Luigi's Mansion, haven't finished Fire Emblem, and Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair is amazing. Yeah, that's my list. So I'm dabbing in a lot of different pools.
Yooka-Laylee.
Me and Corey was just talking about this yesterday.
We were talking about this last night on the Retro Game Show too. Like we were, for those who are newly acquainted to the podcast, the Retro Game Show will be returning to YouTube next week. But basically what it is Ed and I play through classic games, and we're almost... Here's the goal is for Ed to play all these classic games that I have never played, so I can see them without having the grumbles of classic games.
No, yeah,
but we've been playing through Link to the Past, and we just finished the last dungeon before Ganon, and it's very exciting. But Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair, what I found out this week was that Playtonic, I was like, maybe like 2 weeks ago, Ed, on Pow Block, we were talking about how Yooka-Laylee really felt a lot like Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze in a lot of ways. Yes. Playtonic hired 2 level designers from Retro to work on the level design for this game. So I was like, well, that explains a lot, because it feels an awful lot like that game. And
I literally screamed. I'm like, wait, what? Didn't even realize it at all. Like, even when we was talking about for the game of the year, like I think it's one game that it must be played. It's one of those games that needs to be in everybody's library.
Yeah. The Epic Games Store just recently gave it away with their Christmas free games promotion. So I picked it up there and, clicked the get button for free. And I'm not a platforming person typically. I got into Mario Maker 2. I like Donkey Kong Country, but again, if I'm going to play a game, typically platformers don't do it for me normally. But this game, something about the mix of the gameplay of the overworld and the gameplay of the actual platforming levels, very 2 different takes on what's going on. And again, not really into puzzles too much, but they were just fun enough and just challenging enough. A lot of hidden things to find, a lot of collecting of there's leaves in the game instead of coins. So I got into that. I got into let me find the hidden collectibles. Let me collect these things and unlock the tonics that alter the game, visually, or unlock moves. That's key. If you have tried Impossible Lair and you didn't unlock the extra move sets, like the extra glide and things like that, really do that, because what I try to tell people is it's not going to click with you unless you get all your move sets together and you start flying through the levels with some ease and really taking advantage of what's going on mechanically. So, but when you get going, that game flows so well, and it's addicting on a few different levels for me. And a lot of people say, do I like the overworld gameplay more? Do I like the in-game platforming levels like more? That the fact that the levels change and flip on their head, and they have the same level but a spin on them, where maybe things go cold or there's water now, or things change radically, and it's really good. I agree with you guys. It's in some ways still a hidden gem, so you should play it if you haven't.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely one of my favorite games of last year. I need to get back to it, but I've been sinking my time into other games, but I'll get there. We'll get there.
One last thing I have to say.
Yes.
Ed asked me what my game of the year is.
What is your game of the year, Antonio?
I was on the Apex train for a while because I think it was an incredibly polished shooter, but my game of the year ended up being Disco Elysium. I only played it for a short time, but it is fantastic. And I think when you think of game of the year, usually it's something that's stand out, like elevates gaming in some way, unexpected in some way, really doing something no one else is doing. And that is Disco Elysium. It takes game writing to a level that we have not seen before, I think. Have you guys tried it? I know that you were talking about it. It came up in your discussion.
I'm waiting for it to hit console because I don't do a lot of PC gaming.
Yeah.
But I'm waiting for it to hit console because I heard great things. It's one of those games that just came out of nowhere. And I was watching Zero Punctuation and how he was praising it and stuff, and kind of criticizing it for some things. And I was just like, okay, this looks cool. But I'll wait to see if it comes out for like Switch or PlayStation or Xbox. And I guess it did get announced for console, but I just completely missed it. I didn't see no one really talk about it.
It's not out yet. But.
Yeah, it'll be coming, but definitely my game of the year. It was a late entry, and I haven't obviously finished it, but right away it drips and oozes a style. It's so deep, so unexpected. The world is, again, everything's out of left field.
Yes.
And I would highly recommend trying that. Even when I've heard people recommend it, I'm like, okay. And I actually got it for free. They were giving out codes randomly at the end of the Game Awards, and it's like, oh, retweet this, and oh, what would you like? And then I'm like, oh, let me get Disco Elysium. I thought it was a scam, and they're like, here's a code. I'm like, oh my God, this works. So, I shout out to the Game Awards, but give it a chance. If you like great writing at all, once you do play it, if you are a fan of the Mass Effect series, think of what they're really trying to do with deep storytelling and branching paths and choice making a difference, and characters, and that whole idea. If this small team ever got a hold of something like a Mass Effect, like blend what they could do with like a more action-oriented AAA, they can use their writing to elevate some game. I don't know what's coming out of this studio next, but incredible. Just incredible. Try it out, guys.
Because there isn't no combat. When you do level up, you could put it in to ask more questions and being more attractive and stuff like that. I was looking at it, just like, oh, that's a cool mechanic and everything.
Yeah, it's very heavily dialogue based, and it's all dice rolls. I'm pretty sure you actually see some dice rolling sometimes. But yeah, based on your stats, everything in your character build heavily influences what the game is on a moment-to-moment basis. So it's really great. Just needed to mention that. It deserves all the praise from everybody you're hearing.
Yes. Corey, what games have you been getting down to?
Okay, well, there's been the comfort games, as you would say. I've been playing a lot of Halo and a lot of Destiny, and I've been getting back into Gears multiplayer a little bit, just because, Jesse and I think tonight are going to stream hopefully the rest of Gears 5 at some point. But I've been jumping back into that multiplayer. Man, there's just something about Gears that just I don't know, man. And like it feels so old and new at the same time. Gears 5 does. I still think that the Division 2 is a little bit better in terms of how they handle a cover-based shooter now. I think the Division feels better than Gears, but there's just something about how invested I am in the Gears universe at this point, and I've made some upgrades to the Windows experience, I'll say, on my setup here, and I'm really prepping for Gears Tactics because that game looks awesome, and it doesn't seem like it's coming to Xbox at launch. So, but I've been delving into that, and the one thing I don't really care for in the multiplayer is that in Gears 4 you could pick what game mode you wanted to play, and jumping into Gears 5 it's just like the quick play, and you get thrown into random stuff. Like, you know, I would like to play dodgeball all the time, but I can't. So, but still feels good. But hopefully tonight on stream, we'll be able to finish up that campaign finally. I was looking at my achievements, and we literally only have like 3 chapters left of the game when we stop playing. So I've been getting into that. But the one game I've really been getting into is Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, and I finally am where I stopped playing when my daughter was born. I'm finally back up to that place in the game, and I just from an artistic point, that game is just amazing. Like I love the way they mix real like video in with the gameplay, like sometimes, and just wearing headphones makes all the difference, right? I bought a relatively nice pair of like simulated surround sound headphones, and just hearing the different voices surround you and work their way around your head and like really putting you in her headspace is kind of overwhelming at points. It's just a really nice game. The one thing I do want to say about that game though is like I almost think that game would be better if it didn't have any combat in it, or like, you know, those story sequences where you are fighting, like, would just be like a cutscene almost. But I just don't really care for the combat, which is weird from a Ninja Theory game where, you know, DMC was so great at the combat. And I know they're different games, but I always felt like Ninja Theory always did combat well, especially in DMC and even Heavenly Sword to an extent. But I'm really loving Hellblade, and I went back to it because of the Series X announcement of Hellblade 2. And man, I'm glad I did. It's just so good.
Yeah, it's on my list for my backlog challenge, like, to really dive in. I feel like Hellblade is something that no one in the industry would ever do or touch. And this, I feel like it's not a game that's out for money. It's a game out to kind of actually teach you what a certain mental illness looks like in game form. And I feel like it just feels. Oh, go ahead, Corey.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were done.
No.
I just saying it delivers that message very, very well. I feel like it really creates that headspace for you and really kind of communicates it well to you without actually saying, this is what she's going through. This is, you know, whatever. I just think it's delivered very well.
Yes.
So, and then the last game I want to mention is I started Xenoblade Chronicles 2 again. Because I for the backlog challenge, I have all these smaller games to focus on Xbox. So I'm like, Switch is where I'm going to dive deep into an RPG. And that's a game I didn't finish after it came out. And I'm glad I'm going back to it. I like the characters. It still throws me off. Like opening scene when you find out Rex is like very British. And but still, it's fun. I like it. I think I still think the combat from the first game is a little bit better, but overall, you know, Xenoblade is a good time. So that's it for now.
All right.
This week.
Yes. Yes. So the games that I've been getting down to on Switch, Spritefall,
Sparklight.
Sparklight, not Sparkfall.
Spritefall. That
Almost
was
said.
great. I was like, I gotta play that. Never heard of it.
Sparklight, which is like a top-down Zelda roguelike game. I'm having fun with that. Immortal Planet is an isometric kind of Dark Soul genre, hard game genre game.
Hard games.
Enjoyed that. Because everybody consider stuff like that as a Souls game or a Souls genre, and it's just like, I guess yes, but it is what it is. Been playing Breath of the Wild on Switch because I never got a chance to beat it, and that game is still breathtaking. It's still amazing. I think it became one of my game of all times. And still to today, every time I return to it, I feel like there's something that still needs to be explored, and I'm surprised at it. Just finding stuff that even after 3 years that game has came out, there's still more to learn about it. Corey was talking about that he was rewatching a trailer, and it hit me. And it was just like, there was so much I still want to know, but I don't want Nintendo to talk about it until it's ready. I'm like, because this sequel could go anywhere, and it's going to be bonkers on how they go about it. So, kind of been playing that, and been buying some games up on Switch. Downloaded the Nathan Drake collection on PlayStation 4 because I got to re-go through 3 since that's the only Uncharted game I haven't beaten yet. So I want to go through 3 and beat that for the challenge and everything. For Xbox, this is kind of my last game. For Xbox, I've been playing Borderlands 3. It's okay. I don't think it needed the parade show that they made it to be. You get guns and you shoot, and if you need to get stronger, you grind, get stronger, get some better guns, and then fight the boss and continue on with the story. There's something about it. It's just like, I know I've done this before, but this just feels a bit archaic. Like, this feels old, and even though the cell shading looks nice and it's a little bit faster, there's just something about it. Just like, you know what? I can have more fun in Titanfall 2 than having fun in this game. And I just don't know. I don't know what is it about it that it's not grabbing me. But it's just like, I got you for Black Friday as a good deal, so I'm gonna make my way through it. But pretty much that's all I've been doing for my Xbox. I am planning for more games to play, because I want to get through not only Uncharted 3, I want to get through Judgment on PlayStation 4. Hellblade and Witcher 3 I want to get through on Xbox, and then just run through a gamut of games on my Switch, because I see somebody playing Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. I beat the first 2 parts on it on Wii U. I didn't get to beat the 3rd part because other games. Every time me and Corey talk about us not being in a certain game and playing it again, it's because other games get in the way. And that kind of happens to a lot of people. Like, we jump around so much and everything.
I mean,
I don't know why.
That's why I think 2020 is like, I'm focused on this backlog, right? Because so many games do get in the way.
Yeah, I mean, just hearing you guys talk about what you're playing, like, there's so many games, period, and everybody's playing like something else, and you have okay, let me play the old games. Let me come back to the stuff that I probably shouldn't still be playing or replaying because I played it already. Like, so many things. It's just crazy. Ed, are you a fan of Borderlands? Do you like that gameplay?
I do like it because I got one when I got my PlayStation 3, and I brought 2 when they announced it. Like, I did the pre-order, went to my friend's house up in Wisconsin to go play with his brother, and we did a 3 a 3 co-op adventure playing that game, and I with Borderlands 3, I said like it's a good game, but I think it's because it's so big yet it's so empty still. Like I just don't understand why there's not more character models or anything else really to do in that game. Like I kind of wish they changed up some things, but I'm not mad at it. It's just like I'm playing it and I'm just not zoned in. It's just like I play it for a good while and then just be like, okay, I made some progress. That's it. It's the opposite of what Crackdown 3 did for me. I never played Crackdown 1 or 2, but I owned them on my Xbox, and I can't wait to play those. But Crackdown 3, as much as people say it was average or it was okay, I literally was having a blast with it. Jumping around, the way I was doing the shooting, breaking things down. Like, it's a big world, but it's like, it's balanced in a sense on what you could do with that game. And I was just having fun. Like I was staying up every night after work playing that game, trying to beat it and stuff. And I played it with a friend too at sometimes. But when I was playing it by myself, I was really making a lot of progress in that game. And when I do Borderlands 3, I might feel like I should just play it for an hour or two, and not play it for that hour or two and then put it down and go do something else.
The reason I was asking about that is because it seemed like a lot of people found Borderlands 3 to just be a little bit too much more of the same and not like break any molds. So it's like, okay, more Borderlands. And at a certain point, no matter how good, your game is, there's this fine line of, do you refine? Do you break the mold? Like if you look at what Breath of the Wild did, it's like, okay, this is a brand new take. Open world, very physics based, very like, the climbing aspect. We're changing the franchise or going a different direction with it. And you see that every once in a while, like when Mario goes to Mario Galaxy, or when, Halo Reach, like what is that going to be? Do you give people more Halo? And it's just this decision that comes in the life of every franchise where it's like, what are you going to do next? More the same or go crazy and surprise people? And yeah.
I kind of feel like Borderlands needs the mixture of Titanfall 2 and The Division. I mean, not The Division, actually Wildlands. Ghost Recon Wildlands. And the only reason why I'm saying Wildlands, because I think Wildlands is a garbage game. I like that you have AIs that help you out in a sense. I like Titanfall 2 because it's such an open area that the way that you get rid of enemies is up to you. So you can wall run, you can slide, you can jump. The guns feel good. You really want to go in and think of which gun should I really take, because they all feel so good. And it's just like with Borderlands, you just go in the area and you just hold the R trigger. You throw the L button. Or a left trigger for your bombs and stuff, and it's just like, okay, this is the same fight I just did 2 hours or 20 minutes ago, and it's just like, change this up, like really offer me different gameplay mechanics. Because I was having that same problem with Destiny when it first came out, that everything felt like a washing machine. It was just wash, rinse, repeat. Do something different. When they added the melee combat in the first Destiny, it was so much fun. And I'm just like, why can I have more moments like this?
When Breath of the Wild 2 comes out, are you going to want more Breath of the Wild? Or are you going to want them to change things up? Because I think conventional wisdom is that they're going to use the map, the engine, and the general gameplay. Like, you're still going to climb. This is how combat's going to be. You'll be able to do a lot of the same things. Like, the engine is, obviously huge. Like, the building blocks are there.
Yeah.
Are you going to want a radical departure, or are you going to want more Breath of the Wild?
I know I'm going to get more Breath of the Wild, but because the way that I study Nintendo and how they do games, they always add something different to change. They focus on that research and development and that gameplay mechanics to see what can add and enhance this game. They don't just make a game that just feels similar, and the next game you play is still similar. They always change it up. So what I could see in Breath of the Wild 2 is that I'm still going to get that Breath of the Wild experience, but knowing them, they got some hidden gems in their gameplay that they're not ready to talk about. And I know they're going to highlight that maybe at E3 or Nintendo Direct that I could take part of, because maybe we could actually get some crafting, but we may actually be able to craft dungeons and stuff and really put weapons in there that we crafted and send it out to another player. So here go a dungeon. If you come in my world, go ahead and try and do it.
Get a little Kojima with it. Yeah, you're crazy, man. I had good answer, man. Good answer. Seriously, you're crazy, bro.
I think too. While we're talking about Breath of the Wild too, I still think there's going to be I still think Zelda's going to be a companion / playable character that's going to help you solve
co-op.
Yeah, well, not necessarily co-op, but
AI.
like, yeah, more AI than co-op. I mean, co-op, sure, but I'm like AI stuff. Like you can swap between Link and Zelda, and maybe you control Zelda, or you can play as either one, and you use both of them to solve puzzles. Like, okay, maybe Link needs to go stand on this switch while Zelda goes and races through this tunnel to solve this puzzle or whatever, and you use both of them. And I think that would really keep the familiarity of what people like about Breath of the Wild while switching it up enough to kind of, what you were talking about, Antonio, treading that line, because that line is very thin, right? And, Borderlands isn't the only game that had that problem. A lot of people saw that in Gears 4 and, a lot of other games that have come out, since then. So,
co-op's very hit or miss,
yes.
Especially with a game that's that deep, because everybody walked away saying, "Oh yeah, co-op, two playable characters," or maybe it's an AI, maybe it's a second actual human controlled player. But let me get you a little bit excited real quick. You ready for a little bit more dynamite?
I'm always excited.
I only have like 2 sticks left. Okay, I'm gonna throw one of them in there. Okay, imagine a Joel Ellie situation where Ellie is AI, but a little bit more involved, or a Ni no Kuni where you have a playing field where the AI is a lot more active in battle. Think Kratos and Kratos Jr. What's his name? Atreus.
I just followed him this morning because
imagine Boy out there doing his arrow thing and like helping you hold down an enemy and like comboing and stuff. If you can do that and really bring that combat up to the next level and do a second companion character along those lines, that's where I'm excited for. I like the puzzles. I think we're going to see like temples, more traditional areas instead of the smaller puzzle shrines. But combat for me was a little lacking. Not that I didn't like the the inventiveness of physics, but yeah, I always like combat. I like deep combat. So give me some God of War vibes in the combat and blow me away a little bit.
And this is the problem with the combat thing. Nintendo don't know how to make stylish action combat compared to what God of War
Platinum
is.
On there.
Ed said something negative about Nintendo.
Get some Platinum people on there. Poach somebody from Astral Chain's team or something. I don't know.
Platinum wouldn't be a right fit for it.
To action.
And only reason why is because Hyrule Warriors with Tecmo Kobe Tecmo. The fast action in that game, if that was in Breath of the Wild 2, I'm all for it. If they have that speed, I'm all for it.
Zelda will never be fast like that. Never.
Shoot.
You're crazy. You're crazy, man. I wish too. Don't worry. I wish too.
But to have like that Wind Waker frozen time battle scene. If anyone has not played Wind Waker HD, I cannot spoil there's a there's a fight that's engraved in that game when you get to the half part of Wind Waker HD, and I
gotta Google this. I gotta watch this.
You have to play it.
Can I watch it or do I have to play it?
You have to play it.
Oh no!
Because.
All right.
Because when you play,
the backlog grows.
No,
the backlog.
Trust me, when you play Wind Waker or Wind Waker HD, and you get to that fight, this fight thing, you will understand this is a different style of Zelda that has never been done. And if they could do it more in Breath of the Wild, you will literally lose your mind.
All right, I apologize. I keep throwing dynamite in the show. We're on the rails, and I keep throwing us off the rails. That's my.
Hey man,
So-
that's what the show is, man. We just do it. Just do it. But man, Breath of the Wild 2, man, that game, I can't wait. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Did you see that fan made Studio Ghibli style animation somebody did for Breath of the Wild?
I didn't get a chest yet. I just
Oh, it's
seen the
on-
cover of it, but I need to watch
It's on
it.
Nintendo Life. It's like their 4th or 5th story down. It's probably farther down at this point, but like it was, dude, it's so good. It's so good.
I'm
Like
looking at
just,
that.
it's so good. I just want to throw that out there.
Well, we're going to get into our question corner. Remember, you can contribute to the show by emailing us at bossrushgamespro@gmail.com or look for our threads on Twitter or Facebook. So our first two questions actually come from Deshaun Malone. What is y'all's plan for Boss Rush Games this year? Are you going to add any talent? Are you going to get a finalized content list? Okay, so let's address this one. So our plan for Boss Rush Games this year is that, and we kind of talked about, we may be bringing some new shows and some old shows. We're still doing E3. We're doing direct reactions, Indie Masterclass, which is our Nindie Showcase show. We're planning to do that. Pod and Play, where we're planning to bring. It's just a little bit more content. We got standard definition and 1v1 coming along and stuff. So Hit 'em Hard, which is where I play games on a hard difficulty, streaming them and showing you guys my skill on that. Our retro game show, where, like Corey said, me and him play retro games and stuff. We're going to be trying to bring more content, but that's more video content. We're hoping to have more features, like writing reviews and giving opinion pieces. I every September I bring the video games too. So video games for this year is going to be a Boss Rush Games, where it's 3 weeks of celebrating the greatness and the beauty of video games and having podcast episodes on it. So I'm going to be doing that, and we're just going to be having a lot of great content come this year. Some will be seasonal, some will be year round, but that's kind of our plans for this side. Corey, did you have anything to add or anything?
No, I just, we've Ed and I in particular, we haven't really gotten a chance to talk to Ray or Jesse or anything, but like the idea is like, we want to have enough content to be consistent without overwhelming everybody, right? Like that's the plan. I want to make sure that, the Boss Rush podcast and Nintendo Power Block are consistent, which they are. Standard definition is we have the show notes for the first 4 or 5 episodes that we're going to record. We're going to try to record them in advance. That way, we can kind of just schedule them and be okay with that. And then 1v1 is our interview show, which will be debuting next week or the week after. So we have a lot of stuff there. The YouTube stuff is always kind of supplementary to our podcast and our live stuff. I really want to do more live stream stuff, reacting to the conferences or, Nintendo Directs or State of Plays or Inside Xbox, that kind of stuff. I want to get more into that kind of stuff. I want to make shorter YouTube style videos. Ed and I kind of recorded some stuff last night, and there's a lot on our plate right now. We have a lot of ideas that we want to do, which is why we're exploring the seasonal show kind of format with Pod and Play and Hit 'em Hard and Indie Showcase. And to be on, if he asked if we were going to bring on more talent, is that what he said?
Yes.
I would like to bring on at least maybe just like one more person, at some point, just to. I think 5 is a good round number. We brought Ray in to do podcasts with us, which has been good, and the idea is, just to have rotating cast of people on shows in case somebody can't make it. You know, like today we have guests like Antonio, right? Like there's 3 of us here. I think 3 to 4 people on a show is a good number. And if we can have a rotating kind of chairs in case somebody can't make it, I think that's the best way to do have a group that's committed and stuff. You know, we want Boss Rush to be something special for everyone, you know, and
yes,
you know, we have a lot of guests scheduled in the next, you know, I think the next 6 or 7 weeks are booked with guests. Congratulations, Antonio, you're first. But you know, it's a work in progress, and with schedules and everything, it's hard to do everything we want to do, especially because people have been asking a lot about if Arsenal X will make its grand return, similar to Nintendo Power Block, and it started as a joke, but now we're heavily considering it. But the whole thing is just scheduling, and I want to make sure the shows that we have already in progress are consistent before we add another wrench into the fire. So, but you know, the idea is to maybe add one more person later this year that will be committed to our vision of it. You know, we have a lot of friends that want to do stuff, you know, and if people want to guest or contribute as like I don't know, freelancer is the wrong word, but you know what I mean, that kind of thing.
Scabs.
Yeah,
bring in the scabs.
You're welcome to be one of those, Antonio. I know you have a lot
to.
going on in the future, especially with Baby and Megadads and your streaming stuff, but you know, you're welcome to join us at any time.
If I could weigh in a little bit, I think you guys are really great on your branding. Your graphic work is fantastic, and the conversational flow of the episodes of, you know, the actual Boss Rush past podcast in particular, and everything you do, I think is really good. You can find people trying to do a free flowing conversation and have it be just a little too, it's just not as natural. So I think that's a strength, and I'm excited for what you guys are, you know, doing in 2020. It's just such a challenge. I think what you guys have too, with like so many arms, you know what I mean? Like, it's hard to keep that consistent at that point. Like, I have enough trouble doing like one thing on the regular. So yeah, you know, good luck, do whatever you can. I think diversifying your crew and having a rotation is, you know, key to keeping that up. So yeah.
Yeah, that's why like Ed and I have talked about adding one more person, because, you know, sometimes like I'm busy with my wife and stuff on the weekends, or Jesse, you know, we all work on a rotating schedule. Like I work during the day, and Ed sometimes works at night, and Jesse works overnight shifts a lot during the week, and like scheduling stuff, except for, that's why we record Boss Rush on Saturday in the middle of the day, because it's literally the only time we have to record the show when we're all together, or have like, you know, 3 of the 4 of us are available, right? And so but, you know, Antonio, I always looked up to you because you have such a great personality and bring a great flavor to what some of our friends have called the indie podcast space, or the indie content creator space, you know, and like, that's why we wanted you to come on this show too. And you know, that's why we invited Ray too. He has a great personality, and like, I think what you said I appreciate a lot is like, we're all friends, right? So we just have the conversation naturally because it's what we do anyway. Like we're talking about games anyway. It's just, it helps when people write in questions and kind of give us topics to talk about, but it's not something we wouldn't have that conversation anyway. I think that's what helps the show be what it is, you know, and yeah, that's kind of the plan for Boss Rush. Like I said, I kind of want the YouTube stuff to be supplementary to the podcast, because I think the podcast stuff is the most consistent stuff we do, and the most enjoyable things that we do. And you know, the live streaming stuff I really like to do too. And yeah, I don't know, I enjoy it. I do think adding a 5th person or just a rotating set of guests would be great too. So, but in terms of adding content, yeah, that's the idea right now, is to make sure our stuff is consistent right now before we add any more, which it's been pretty consistent so far this year. Of course, it's only been, 12 days, 11 days of the year, but
Yes.
yeah.
Well, let's get into a second question. With the news of Xbox Series X not getting any exclusives in the first year, does this make you rethink your purchase of the console? Me and Corey kind of talked about this. For me, it doesn't make me rethink. I'm going to buy it when I could buy it, and I'm going to get the games that I want to get on it. I'm a person who still buys a lot of games physically, so when I get it, regardless of what system that it is coming on, I'm going to buy it physically. With Series X, I'm going to buy the system and I'm going to buy that game physically. Just because they're not making a game exclusive for Series X doesn't stop you from playing it. If you can't afford it, just like with some games and you got Game Pass, if they put the game on Game Pass and you still got Windows 10 or Xbox One, and you're able to play that game, play it there. It's about the experience. It's about enjoying it. And yeah, Nintendo does it with their Zelda games. They did it with Twilight Princess. They did it with Breath of the Wild. They didn't make Breath of the Wild exclusive for Switch. They still brought it out for those other systems. For Wii U. So it depends on what games, but if it's like for their first party and stuff, I think they're going to bring it out there and put it on Game Pass for anybody to play. The exclusive stuff don't really mean anything. I want to say not exclusive. I want to just say first party games, because once again, if your stuff is thrown up on another platform, I don't feel like it's exclusive. So if Halo Infinite shows up on Steam when it comes out, then and more games keep showing up on Steam or Epic or whatever, then it's not really exclusive. It's just a first party title.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with Ed. I would like to have the Xbox Series X as soon as I possibly can, but honestly, the fact that Halo Infinite is coming to Xbox One X or Xbox One also really makes me if I can't get the console right away, at least I won't be missing out on what Xbox has to offer, right? Because we're so entrenched in the Xbox ecosystem now, with me and Jesse and Ray in particular, with Game Pass and Ed, I know you try to buy as many of the first party games as you can, but I think the fact that if you can't get the console on day one, you won't be missing out on the experiences. And I'm okay with that. I don't really buy into the crap that people are saying online. I'll get the Series X when I can because I like the Xbox console. So
yes. What about you, Antonio?
I have one more stick of dynamite left, and I think I'm gonna light that shit up real quick. All right, so let's light it. All right, Corey, can you place your hands over your eyes like this?
Oh boy.
All right, Corey is demonstrating a Sony PlayStation fan's ability to see the value of Xbox. All right, that's it. Pictured right there. Hands, show me nothing. All right, I don't want to see it. I'm going to be as obtuse as possible. All right, this must be one of the most egregious, misleading headline clickbait situations I've seen in quite a while. Because the reality is the new games coming from all these dope studios are going to be playable on Series X as well as Xbox One X, Xbox One S. And I believe you're going to be able to stream these using Project X Cloud to any phone, any tablet, and available on PC. So that's the reality, right? The headline is no exclusives. And, I'll disagree with that in the sense that, Ed, you're saying that if a game is on Xbox and also playable on PC, it's not exclusive, right? That's what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't, because everybody said that exclusives is exclusive to one system or one platform,
right?
And when it jumps to different platforms, it loses that exclusive. So if people are saying that exclusives are supposed to belong to one thing, the moment that it goes to something else, it doesn't lose that exclusive.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
I mean, when you're going by the term that we all
Yeah.
knew traditionally, exclusive is one, like only on Xbox, only on PC, only on PlayStation. I agree.
So when I call something first party, it's that it comes from that first party developer, and they could put it on any platform that they want to. You know, it could. Bayonetta 2 is a good example. It's still an exclusive to Nintendo, even though it's on 2 platforms. That is more of an exclusive because it's only on Nintendo's platform. If you look at that, some people were kind of saying that exclusive. Sometimes when it comes to exclusive, it belongs to that one console. That's what a lot of people might think, but it's not. It just depends on who has it. So if I say that something is first party, that game belongs to that first party, and they could put it on any kind of systems they want. If they want to put Horizon Zero Dawn on PC, it's still a first party game because Sony is doing that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, the term exclusive, the way we all know it, it's only on this, only on that. Yeah. But what bothers me about the situation is having an exclusive or can't play it anywhere else. When we got into this, is it on PC and is it on a console situation? So now we know that most likely we're going to have, we've had Xbox and PC games. They're blurring the lines there. We have Game Pass console and Game Pass PC, and we have a lot of cross-play, cross-progression. Microsoft is blurring those lines. And then I believe that in the future, there will be, again, PC and exclusive PlayStation games, again there. But the anger and the vitriol or the discounting of a title, as long as it was on PC, I see a lot of Sony fans saying, because it's on PC, there's no reason to get the Xbox, as if it totally eliminates the fact that it's anywhere on the system. Like giving no credit at all to the ecosystem, where again, I don't agree with that at all. For instance, the PlayStation 4 will most likely, again, at least for the first year, kind of what they're saying with Xbox, you're going to be able to play games on the PS4. The install base is crazy. It doesn't make any sense to put up that wall unless Sony's saying, you know what? People will pay. We want them to definitely get the new stuff. But I don't think that that's what's going to happen. This, you talked a lot last episode, I think it was last episode, about backwards compatibility and all this stuff, how important that is. And again, just like why I had Corey cover his eyes, there's value in this to have a new game. Again, a lot of people aren't seeing it as new experiences that are going to be pushing these boundaries and all that. They're like, no, they're going to be all old because you can play it on the Xbox One X. I just don't agree with this. I see the Xbox ecosystem as giving people access to games for a rock bottom price with no barriers to entry. You are going to be able to play Xbox in 2020 with nothing but a controller, even a PlayStation controller, your phone that you already have, and the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription that's going to have console games, PC games. You're going to be able to stream from your Xbox or from the cloud, all of that all in one. And it's going to cost pennies. And we have people here who are all like, sucks, PlayStation, like all the way. And I'm like, I agree. Like me being a big Xbox advocate, if I had the choice to start, I might consider a PlayStation 5 before a Xbox Series X for this reason. But
and the thing,
I love Xbox. I think it's valuable what the decision they're making.
The thing with PlayStation is that Sony's acting not Sony. I won't say that. From certain people's viewpoints about backwards compatibility or BC, Nintendo's been doing this for a long time, and it's nothing new. Sony had a chance to still do BC, but if you look at PS3 when they first came out, you was able to do that, and then they put an update where they stopped doing it. And Sony was doing it with when you had PlayStation 2, you was able to play PlayStation 1 games and 2 games. It's still on even with the Slim. So with PlayStation 5 being BC, it doesn't stop people from playing games on their platform. With Microsoft bringing games to PC, you actually, and a lot of people don't know this, you actually have to input more money into a PC to actually get something that is that's going to be a greater experience than console. You got to get a graphics card, a bigger processor. You got to invest a lot of good money in that. And definitely, if you're trying to go bigger with a bigger monitor, a controller, a keyboard, like if you really are trying to make a beast of a PC just to play Gear 6 or whatever, you have to invest a lot of money. People who do a lot of gaming on console, they invest in the console, whatever they offer, whatever that deal is. And if they want to still be on the budget, Game Pass is a great thing. If they still care about physical, get your physical copy. If you're doing your stuff digitally first party, don't forget you can play it anywhere on PC and on Xbox. So they're giving you viable options on the Microsoft ecosystem. So, but it's just, I think people need to realize that if you're doing stuff on PC, you have to invest more money, 3 times what you invest in a console. And a lot of people don't take notice of that.
So do you think it's a positive thing or a negative thing that Xbox Series X won't have any titles that you can play just on Series X?
I think it's, for right now, it's a positive, because
especially,
I agree. That's what I'm sure. That's my only gripe. I reject the premise that you can hold on to the word exclusives in the traditional meaning of the word exclusives and say, you see, I mean, Xbox sucks. Like that is the wrong way of thinking about it. If you're being objectively looking at what features the ecosystem is bringing you, plenty of games, any way you want to play, low price, all up and down across the board. No barrier to the new 2020 games exists, or very low barriers. And when The Last of Us 2 is playable on PS5 and PS4, I better see similar headlines saying PS5 has no exclusives because you can play them all on PlayStation 4. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a misleading, clickbaity thing that we've gotten into here.
Xbox is getting away from actually being the physical box and being more of a all-encompassing kind of thing where, okay, I have an Xbox One X, and the thing is too is like with cross-platform play now kind of being this huge thing, like I think that automatically creates a bigger player base for something as big as Halo Infinite, or as big as they want it to be, right? Where Xbox One players can play with Halo, can play with Series X players, can play with PC players if you want to. Like there's going to be that thing where, of course, if you have mouse and keyboard, you need to accommodate players to only mouse and keyboard or controller, or choose who plays with who. But like playing Gears 5 with people, I've played Gears 5 with people who are playing on PC and I'm playing on Xbox, right? And that's cool. And that's basically
it's the future, man. We're all going to be playing together.
And I think, like, in order to get... Okay, we're going to view Halo Infinite as the Xbox Series X title, right? Like, I think we all kind of see it that way, but...
Yes.
It's the same way Nintendo... Ed and I were just talking about this on Pow Block the other day during our Nintendo segment. Like, the Switch launched with Breath of the Wild. It's a Wii U game. Breath of the Wild is a Wii U game. It didn't launch with any kind of major first-party exclusives. Its first major first-party exclusive was Splatoon 2, right? And that was...
I thought it was ARMS.
Was it ARMS? Maybe it was ARMS.
I don't recall which one came out first, but you can count the exclusives on one hand.
Yeah.
I mean,
its two biggest titles are still Wii U games to this day.
Yeah.
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and Zelda Breath of the Wild are Wii U games. So, I mean, you could argue that all you want, but like for me, I think it just helps the player base grow, especially in something like Halo Infinite, or even something you already own like Destiny or Fortnite or whatever you plan on playing, right? I just think it's just such a good platform and a good message overall to say, hey, if you can't afford our new box in the first year or two, like, don't worry, you can still play the games on your old box. This box just makes, like, of course the new box is going to make them look better and sharper and nicer and maybe have some sort of ray tracing or whatever kind of buzzwords they're going to throw around. But if you can't, that's okay. You can have this box. Or if you can't afford our box, sign up for our xCloud service. You pay $15 a month. You get access to Game Pass Ultimate, and you can stream the stuff to your phone from our data centers and stuff. Like, Xbox is just offering people way more choice, and like it's an overwhelming amount of choice if you start writing it down and try to explain it to somebody. But like,
Right.
the choice is there, and I think that is a good thing.
Where Nintendo has a different viewpoint on entertainment and value, and how they connect value and entertainment for their business, which is good for Nintendo because it works very well. Microsoft, they have a viewpoint different from entertainment and value, that because they opened it up so much, you could get a lot of entertainment and they could still be profitable with the value that's in it. And and why not have more open choices? Why limit yourself to just one thing where there's various ways that technology is advancing? So you want to get to those technologies where they could play your product.
I want to say this: the Xbox Series X will not outsell the PlayStation 5.
And you know what? Microsoft and Nintendo don't care about that anymore.
Exactly. The X is going to be most likely, from what we're hearing, the more powerful console. Mm-hmm. But the options are endless. You can upgrade because I'm a hardcore player. I need the Series X, the best of the best. They'll most likely come out with a Series S or similar half-step SKU. Or you can stay with your Xbox One X or Xbox One S and not upgrade, or you can own no hardware at all and say, I've never owned an Xbox. Let me get Game Pass Ultimate. I'm going to play on my phone with my PlayStation 4 controller and have access to a slew of games. Like, the options are like everywhere, and you can spend pennies to hundreds of dollars, and it's all going to be up to you. But the thing of the idea that this is a bad thing boggles the mind. Like, people don't understand the value that Xbox is delivering yet. They don't appreciate it yet. They don't understand it yet. It's true. It's too outside the box. I don't think until you give it a fair shot, once somebody gets Game Pass and you give it to them, they start downloading everything. They start playing not demos. They start playing full games and saying, I'm going to play this for 3 hours and then put it down. But that's okay. I don't feel bad about it.
I can't tell you how many games I've tried because of Game Pass.
Exactly.
After Party, my friend Pedro, Untitled Goose Game, like the Outer Worlds, even like games that were like, people had high praise for, but like, maybe it wouldn't have been for me, or I didn't feel like spending the $20 to get a game that I don't like. Like, Game Pass has enabled me to play so many games that I wouldn't have purchased otherwise.
There's I'm sorry.
Oh no! You was about to bring Nintendo. I was about to say, don't forget, there was a point that everybody is hoping that Game Pass came to Switch, and that might be in the future because of how Microsoft and Nintendo have worked together.
I don't think it's out of the question. I don't know like how much of a percentage that's going to be, but like I don't think it's out of the question per se. But
they have to be have the planning phase, and like the vision is incredible, because I'm sure they're laying the groundwork for that. But there was somebody somewhere working on a computer and came into a planning meeting at Microsoft, most likely a woman, and was like, look, this Game Pass idea, right? We're going to put all these titles for one low subscription price, and we're going to throw in our first party. And guess what? It's going to increase playtime, people spending more money on games, people discovering old franchises. And who knows, it might be hurting developers. I'm not sure. But there will be a lot of positive outcomes from our company standpoint. It was a genius idea. It's counterintuitive. There's no way in the world this should be like all at a loss. Like everything should be like fire and brimstone. Like you can't give away all your games for pennies, but they're doing it and they're running with it. And gamers do not understand it. And Sony people are like this. You see you see a fanboy like Xbox sucks.
And
They
to
have
make it-
no games.
And to make it clear,
What?
Game Pass is great for people who want to try a title out that came out years or months ago, and now it's on that service.
Well, I believe that if you looked at the release time to Game Pass,
Mhm.
you're gonna find some games that are 1 month, 2 months old.
Yeah,
It's
But
happened
it's-
already.
but
I
it's-
forget what they are, but
I
it's
mean,
it's
Shadow,
nothing like-
Shadow of the Tomb Raider was there 3 months after launch.
there was a
Right.
title that was like, whoa. I mean, I'm sure if you looked at a chart or got the data, but it is some of these games are like, as soon as that hype cycle dips, which unfortunately is 2-3 months, it's on there. It's nuts.
I would
Right,
argue
the
it's
only-
like 2 or 3 weeks sometimes.
the only thing that's not on Game Pass are the new releases for a third party. A lot of indies and Microsoft stuff. is
Right, but
on
then you
there.
have like Uplay Pass or EA Access or those types of services that I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure will make their way to Xbox at some point. I'm not honestly. I think that say what you will about EA, but I think $30 a year for their catalog of games is pretty decent, especially because like you're gonna get Titanfall, whatever the next Titanfall is eventually, and despite what you say about Anthem, before it came out, people were excited for it, and that's on
Yes.
there now, and those
You
kinds
don't
of
get
games.
you don't get the new sports franchises year of, right? You always get the year back.
I think all games on the service are 7 months after release.
If they ended up doing like the latest like sports, like Madden day and date,
Mm-hmm.
like NHL date and date, then and the Game Pass is pushing everyone to whatever future online subscription streaming option you're gonna do. It better be able to compete, because I don't think people see it coming yet. Xbox
Hey.
is gonna have a killer year. Period.
I'm just glad that people hopefully they will try Yakuza out, because Yakuza has been exclusive to PlayStation, and it's still not a low class game. It's still a niche game to the market, and it should do well. I believe it should do well on Game Pass.
It's coming to Game Pass, or is it
Yeah.
purchase? It's Game Pass.
Game
Wait,
Pass,
what is-
Yakuza.
Hot
Yeah,
damn.
Yakuza
0, 1 Kiwami, and 2 Kiwami.
2. Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah, are all
I'm
coming.
ready.
And that's
I almost bought it for $5 right now on
and
Steam. I'm
that's
glad I
big.
held-
Like, the only time that Yakuza has ever came out or anything else has been Wii U in Japan, and I think it came out on PC. That's the only time that series has came out. It's been stuck on Sony's brand for years.
When
So-
they announced Final Fantasy franchise coming, I peed myself. I let out a little bit of urine. I was
Oh.
like, "Whoa!"
I'm,
Almost
I'm,
had a
I was
second
very
kid.
excited.
I'm okay with that. We're gonna move on.
Yeah. Before we get to the next question, we've been recording for about an hour and 20 minutes. I've got about 10 minutes left at most. So let's. Sorry, I didn't want to be that guy, but
Okay.
I have to be that guy.
Okay. So Samantha Cross says, "Hey guys, I haven't been in for a while, but it's a new year and new excitement for games. What is your one most anticipated game for this year?" For me, my one anticipated game definitely is Ori and the Will of the Wisp.
I think mine's Halo Infinite. Until Nintendo announces something really crazy,
Exactly.
You know.
That's why I gotta go with Ori.
maybe we'll revisit this question after the first Nintendo Direct.
Right. Exactly. Antonio.
Final Fantasy VII remake. I love the game, and the remake looks amazing.
Yes. Okay. At WT Famicom Love, when is the world currency going to become Bison dollars? It's
when
not.
Horizon Zero Dawn happens in real life. Right? No? Okay. Glad I laughed at my own joke. It's all right.
Antonio.
According to the International Monetary Fund, probably 2046.
Okay. And our last question comes from Sam Hall. What is one game you want to see in a different genre? What's the catch?
Okay, so I'm glad he asked this question because I saw someone post on Twitter the other day. Super Metroid Tactics. I saw it, and it looked like
It was like a pixel art,
yeah, it
like
looked kind of like
rendering of
it
a
looked-
screen.
It looked kind of like Into the Breach, and I was like, I didn't know I wanted this until now. Although Ed and I had a lengthy discussion on how
Super Metroid Helldivers.
Yeah, we were talking about Metroid Helldivers at one point.
And I'm sticking with that.
I wrote up on the Nintendo Village a article that should be posting very soon called Pokemon Tactics Invasion of Kanto, and it's basically a article series that I'm writing about Pokemon merging with different genres. They tried this in 2012, but like a Final Fantasy Tactics style with Pokemon, so you have like your little armor. Yeah, Conquest. So an expansion and a reimagining of that with everything that's been learned in the last 10 years. The best parts of the modern Fire Emblem and the modern XCOM and the modern, all these things, but built into a beautiful Pokemon Tactics game. It's a whole long article about here's what I want it to be and here's what's going to happen or whatever. It'd be
okay.
dope.
So, Helldivers would have been one. My actual answer, and Corey, you're going to probably be mad at me about this. Destiny in the form of ActRaiser when it came out for Super Nintendo.
What's
so you
ActRaiser?
You don't know about ActRaiser?
No, let me Google. I don't know.
ActRaiser is a 2D platform / sim game.
Yeah, it's like you're like this god, and you go through the side-scrolling sections to like. You go through these side-scrolling sections. And
what was it on?
Super Nintendo.
It's
I think it's on the Nintendo Switch Online thing. Is it?
No, it's not.
No, it's not. Okay, never mind. It's not there.
Oh my god, it exists.
Yeah. So
there's actually two of them. The second one sucks. The first one. Then didn't somebody just try to remake or do a love letter to ActRaiser?
So Sister, something from that Sega did.
Yeah, I don't know. What
yeah.
It is.
So the 2D part would be a regular Destiny, and then when you get to the sim part, you could build up whatever that place is that you always visit. Yeah, you get to build up the tower like that.
This game looks bunk. Oh my god, dude!
Are you serious?
How do you not know about ActRaiser?
It looks like a Super Ghouls and Ghosts, or
you will be shocked. Okay, so just the way that it looks, you might think like, okay, it's kind of janky. It has one of the best soundtracks.
Okay, I'll listen to
this. If this is Square Enix, before they became Square Enix, this is one of their games. I think it's Enix. This is one of their games that they was mixing two genres at the same time.
Yeah.
And it was a big game.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's one of those games that's like.
I never heard of it.
I can't believe you've never heard of ActRaiser.
You never heard it?
Never.
ActRaiser is one of the biggest games that people talk about when they talk about
must plays on Super Nintendo. ActRaiser is always in that conversation.
Yes.
Man, that might have been the biggest surprise of the show. That
Exactly.
Antonio's never heard of ActRaiser.
Oh my god, it's on Wii U.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry that I had to scream at everybody. That just shocked me. Like my soul is still out of my body looking at Antonio like, you don't know about ActRaiser. We're gonna have a discussion.
It's got mixed reviews. That's what I'm reading.
I would it's not really changing genres, but it's opening up the genre. I've been thinking a lot about a Gears of War Division style game where like it's set in the Gears of War universe, but you're going around a city like doing tasks and finding up weapon upgrades and stuff. Like I've been thinking about that a lot, especially with like, I don't know if you watched the trailer for Gears Tactics, but the way you can add stuff to your weapons and change out stuff to where like certain things are more effective on certain weapons. I'm like, yeah, I really want that.
He wants to replace the memory of Gears Pop.
Oh gosh. No.
I said replace.
I hear good things about Gears Pop.
Remember when we watched that live last year? And I was like, or maybe it was like 2 years ago, and they showed the Gears logo on this brick wall, and it was like, I was like, yeah! And then the pop figure just busts through the wall. I'm like, no!
Corey's just like, what is this garbage?
I was so upset.
I watched this one to fall out and laugh because it came out of nowhere.
Yeah, that's on our Arsenal X YouTube page.
All right. ActRaiser 2 looks cool. That's all I gotta say.
I can't. My soul has just.
Is 2 the bad one?
Yeah, 2's the bad one.
Oh, dude, it looks way better than 1. Oh, this is dope.
Yeah, because 2 was all platformer stages, but it's way harder than 1.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Yes. But everybody, that has been Boss Rush Games. Want to thank you guys for tuning in, watching us live. Antonio, thank you for joining us this episode. Did you want to plug anything? Go right ahead.
Follow me on Twitter @Hypecaster, and I'll be talking all sorts of trash on there. Thank you.
How did you acquire Hypecaster? Because that seems like something that somebody like in the esports world would have already had. How did you just? I hate it when somebody gets the Twitter name that they want and it's just perfect, and I can't get there.
Hype is the epitome of gaming. Talking about it, anticipating it, hoping for what's to come is gaming. So that's where the hype comes from. And then I forget where Caster came from, but it's all about the hype, okay? Embrace the hype. Live in the hype. It's the best part. It doesn't get any better than this, all right?
It's true. That's fair.
That's very true. Corey, did you want to plug anything?
I guess you can follow me at CoreyNHG713 on Twitter and CoreyNHG on Instagram and Mixer. I'm going to be having a top 5 games you should download on Game Pass right now coming out this week, as well as hopefully my Hellblade review debuting this week as well if I finish the game. So that's what I'm going to plug right now. Also, Nintendo Power Block podcast, Saturday mornings, 7 a.m. podcast service choice, and YouTube. Live on Twitch and Mixer. Okay, you can go now, Ed.
I can't with you. You guys can follow me on Twitter @ThatRetroCo. You can check out my podcast, Optional Opinion, on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, and other podcast apps. I just released a new episode. Can games trigger something in you? Where I'll cover about games make you frustrated, they make you laugh, or they really make you fearful, and other things. So do give that episode a look out. You can find me on Twitch and on Twitter Twitch and Mixer at The Lyrical One. I do have an Instagram, but I got to get back into using it because I haven't just used it in a while and stuff like that. But with that, everybody, have a great week, have a great weekend, and we will see you next time on Boss Rush Podcast. And as always, let's all play games and be better. Bye, everybody.